The doctors told me I was lucky to be alive. They said I had been missing for exactly 4 hours and 32 minutes. They said I was found standing barefoot on the side of a road, 20 miles from my home, staring at the sky and repeating one sentence over and over. It wasn't done with me. I don't remember saying that, but I remember why it's true. Because I came back, and something came back with me. The last normal thing I remember was taking out the trash just after midnight. The air was unnaturally quiet, the kind of silence you only notice when it's wrong. No wind, no insects, no distant traffic, even the dogs in the neighboring farms had gone silent. I remember standing on my porch thinking the night felt paused, like the world was holding its breath. That's when I noticed the light. It wasn't a beam and it wasn't flashing. It was just a glow hanging above the tree-line, perfectly still, with no visible source and no sound at all. I pulled out my phone to record it, and the screen went black instantly, even though it had been fully charged seconds earlier. I shook it, pressed every button, tried to reset it, but it stayed dead, completely black, as if the device itself had decided to betray me. Then the pressure started. It felt like my chest was being crushed from the inside, like the air was being pulled out of my lungs without letting me exhale. I tried to step back, but my legs stopped responding and I collapsed onto the porch. The last thing I remember seeing was the glow slowly lowering toward me before everything turned white. The whiteness wasn't light. It was an emptiness, a vacuum of perception that swallowed sound and space and time. I couldn't feel my body. I couldn't hear my own heartbeat. I wasn't afraid at first. Fear didn't exist yet. Then I realized I could sense shapes around me, massive and shifting, like shadows folded into themselves, moving but never fully appearing. I felt them watching, pressing against me, reading me, probing for something I didn't even know I had. When I woke up, I wasn't on my porch anymore. I was standing upright on a surface that felt like warm glass, solid but faintly vibrating under my feet. The space around me had no corners, no clear walls, just smooth curves that shifted slightly when I tried to focus on them. There was no visible light source, yet everything was evenly illuminated, as if the air itself was glowing. That's when I realized I wasn't alone. They didn't look like anything from movies. No large eyes, no thin gray bodies. In fact, I couldn't really see them at all. Every time I tried to focus directly on one of them, my vision slid away, like my brain refused to lock onto their shape. But I could feel them. There was a presence all around me, close, invasive, like standing in a crowded room with your eyes closed. I tried to speak, but the words never left my mouth. Instead, thoughts that weren't mine began forming inside my head. They weren't voices. They were impressions, concepts, emotions forced into my mind all at once. They showed me images of my house, my street, my town, as if they had been studying me long before that night. They showed me places I had never visited, forests I had never walked through, buildings that didn't exist yet, all mapped with perfect clarity in my consciousness. Then they showed me myself, not as I was, but as something unfinished, something open. I felt something move inside my body, not physically, but deeper, like they were adjusting something fundamental about me, tuning me, calibrating parts of my mind and my senses I didn't know existed. Panic set in and I tried to resist, but the moment I felt fear, everything stopped. The presence withdrew slightly, and I understood that fear was not something they wanted. I could feel curiosity instead, and something like amusement, as if my tiny human terror was insignificant to them. Then, in a flash, I was falling. Not through air, but through darkness, like being dropped into my own body from a great height. I remembered gasping, opening my eyes, the cold night air biting my skin as I landed barefoot on the side of a deserted road miles from my home. My body shook uncontrollably, soaked in sweat, heart hammering, every nerve screaming that nothing made sense. It was just before dawn. A passing driver saw me and called for help. I don't remember the ride to the hospital, but I remember the looks on the doctors' faces when they ran the tests. My heart rate was abnormal. My brain activity didn't match any known pattern for hours after I woke up. They told me I had lost time, but what scared them most was something else. According to satellite data, there had been a brief blackout in the exact area where I disappeared, a perfect circular zone where all signals dropped at once. No phones, no radios, no GPS, nothing. After I was released, things didn't go back to normal. Electronics in my house randomly shut off at night. My dog refuses to enter my bedroom, standing in the doorway whining and staring at the empty space above my bed. Sometimes I wake up unable to move, but I'm not alone. I feel that same presence, closer now, familiar, like it knows me better than I know myself. Shadows move in ways that don't make sense, corners of my room bending slightly when I look away, as if the walls themselves are watching. I hear whispers when there is no one there, feelings pressed into my consciousness that I cannot explain, sudden chills that race through my body, cold and sharp. Last week I found dirt on my feet when I woke up, even though I hadn't left the house. Yesterday, I opened my phone and found dozens of photos I never took, all from impossible angles, showing my house, my yard, my bedroom, all perfectly detailed. Some showed me sleeping. Some showed me standing awake, facing empty corners. There was no timestamp, no device info. And underneath every photo, file names I didn't create, simple messages. We are not finished. You belong here. Watch closely. Do not look away. Every day, every hour, I feel them closer. I can sense them in my room, in my mind, in the corners of my vision when I try to blink. Sleep is impossible. My reflection sometimes moves independently, showing shapes behind me that vanish when I turn. I have tried leaving, tried moving, but it follows, always. The last time I walked outside at night, the glow returned, low above the trees, perfectly still, as if waiting, not for me, but for something I don't yet understand. I know now I was never truly alone. I came back, but they came back too, and they are patient, watching, learning, waiting for the moment I can't resist. Every day, every sound, every shadow reminds me they are there, and that the sentence I repeated without knowing it is more than true. It wasn't done with me. It will never be done with me. And I know, with a certainty that terrifies me, that I will never be alone again, not really, not ever.